When the feds picked Lil Durk up on a murder case, everyone assumed he was done, but tonight we're delving into the intrigue behind the scenes and how he might really win the trial. In 2024, Lil Durk found himself in one of the most bizarre circumstances in the rap industry. Several of his friends were charged with the murder of Lil Pop, Quando Ron's cousin. Then, while Durk was attempting to depart the nation and heading to the airport, the fans snatched him up. It didn't look good for Durk when the news came out. Rumor had it that his crew was betraying him. Subsequently, there were reports that Durk would face charges for orchestrating another hit in Chicago. After ruling the rap game, Durk now faces a life sentence in prison. However, this trial has involved a lot of behind-the-scenes activity. Since Durk was taken into custody by the federal government, his attorneys have been working to have him released on bond. However, the prosecution does not want Durk to go, because they believe he would attempt to enter the race and take a plane to Dubai or another location. A couple of Durk's bond hearings didn't go his way. It appears that they would hire a large number of armed guards to keep an eye on Durk and ensure he didn't break his bonds, as well as pay more than $1 million in bail in May 2025. The indictment against Durk was another significant piece of news. There were 3 specific facts against Durk at the time of the indictment. Among other things, Durk made money and celebrated Lil Pop's death by rapping about him on the song Wonderful Wayne, and Jackie Boy informed me that they had an ATTT go. When you see your son on the news, you yell, "No, no." Fans created videos combining the song with news footage of Quando Rondo yelling "No" when Lil Pop passed away, and that bar was well publicized when Durk was booked. Durk appeared to be self-snitching a lot at first, and the indictment even included a reference from the song. However, it turns out that Durk composed that verse 8 months before Lil Pop's murder. The producers who worked on the song were even called in by Durk's legal team, and they stated in their testimony that Durk recorded his line long before Lil Pop was killed. The accusation that Durk instructed one of his friends to pay the reward following Lil Pop's death was also dismissed by the prosecution. Although there is just one particular piece of information remaining in the indictment, a text message that Durk sent to a member of the crew just before Lil Pop was shot, the investigators still believe that Durk was involved in planning the hit. In order to capture Quando Rondo, the crew took a plane from Chicago to Los Angeles. Durk allegedly texted one of them, saying, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me," after they purchased the tickets using credit cards. Although it appears from the text that Durk was fully aware of what was happening, his attorneys argue that a single text message is insufficient evidence, after demonstrating that Durk recorded his verse for Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy before the Lil hit. Durk's attorneys also attempt to have the entire case dismissed. The grand jury indictment includes the lyrics, which implies that Durk might not have discovered the murder case at all if they hadn't been included. Grand jury indictments are typically kept under wraps, but Durk's attorney claimed that since the prosecutors had already used flawed evidence against him, they needed to be aware of what was in them. However, the Fed said that Durk and his group shouldn't be allowed to read the indictment since witnesses and their families were already being threatened by Durk's followers. At one of Durk's bond hearings, Lil Pop's mother even admitted, "I am scared to behave." A month later, Durk had another bond hearing. At that point, his team proposed to post $4.5 million as bail. However, even if Durk was innocent, the judge warned that he might try to flee. Durk faces life in prison and has millions in the bank. The judge added that anyone would think that fleeing is a more sensible option than taking a chance at a trial. Just before the feds hauled him up, Durk was apprehended attempting to board a plane to Dubai, but his attorney said he was traveling there for both business and religious purposes. Although Durk is Muslim and has visited Dubai previously, it appeared as though he was attempting to leave the country before the police could apprehend him. Durk won even though his bail was once again denied. If the trial had proceeded as planned, Lil Durk would have been executed after being charged with murder. However, the prosecution made the decision to forego the death penalty in June 2025. Durk also achieved a significant victory because he would not face charges for hitting Stephen Mack. In 2022, Stephen Mack, a GD in Chicago, was shot and died. Additionally, there were reports that Durk placed a bag on his head because Stephen Mack was allegedly involved in the murder of Durk's brother Dang. They appreciate Durk's ass as a singer, but many people thought he self-snitched about the Stephen Mack smash when he released and rapped. He refuses to smoke. You are free to hold any beliefs you like. I hit your people. Following Stephen Mack's death, Durk also wrote to pick up the F logo and said, 4D. Everyone believed Durk was opposing Stephen Mack, and there were reports that he was going to face more murder charges for orchestrating the incident. However, Durk got lucky and decided not to identify the Stephen Mack indictment. However, other people are attempting to link Durk to Stephen Mack. Additionally, according to some accounts, Durk was complicit in the FPG Cash attack. In 2022, FPG Cash was shot and died. Additionally, he was disparaging King Von and firing rounds at Lil Durk before his death. Cash was slain, and it is said that a tree discovered his body. As a result, everyone believed Durk was making fun of him in the song. He threatened everyone as he finished, saying, "I'm playing, then come and see you going to end up by that tree." Additionally, there were speculations that the deaths of FPG Cash and Stephen Mack were related because it was claimed that the same gun was used in both killings. However, that proved to be the case because the police had the gun used in the murder of Stephen Mack and the proof before FPG Cash was assassinated. Some people believed that Durk would also face charges from the federal government for FPG Cash when he was booked for the Small Pop song. However, there is no proof that Durk was involved. No one actually knows who shot the FPG Cash, and the police haven't even located the gunman yet. Though the prosecutors in the Lil Pop case believe Durk cinched on himself during his interview with DJ Academics, he is unlikely to get the FPG Cash just yet.
Live for Vaughn comments. I don't know if people still say it. They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Slide for Vaughn. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, that song is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see the comments no more. For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water. You be seeing the comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why.
The interview definitely isn't a good.
It's clear that Lil D doesn't look good in the interview. Although it doesn't really show that he planned the hit on Quando Rondo, if he is tried in court, it might nevertheless give the jury the impression that he did. The fact that Durk has been collaborating with the fans as an informant is currently one of the main grievances the supporters have against him. Although there are many speculations circulating, no one is certain of the identity of the informant at this time. Durk may be convicted by one informant, but Durk's attorney told DJ Vlad that the rest of the group was betraying him. Many people believe someone will turn on Durk, so they may skate on it, even though everyone involved in the case faces life in jail if found guilty. Although there is no evidence that anyone who was booked is spying, Durk La. According to Drew Filling,
behind closed doors, and I just no way of knowing whether or not people are cooperating. But usually you don't hear about it until the process has really worked its way along and the person is locked in.
DJ Flab.
During the Young Thug Rico trial, DJ Flab mentioned how Lil Woody ruined the prosecution's case. However, Drew Finling stated that such an event would not occur in the Fed case since the feds want to ensure that all of their witnesses will genuinely contribute to their legal victory. When the feds attempted to exploit Durk's lyrics from Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, they already presented some unfavorable evidence. And when the matter goes to trial, Durk might find that to be very significant. That will undoubtedly be used by his attorneys to persuade the jury that Durk is innocent of any actual wrongdoing by the federal government.